As Africa's leading storyteller, MultiChoice is happy to launch a new medium for us to share our narrative. Through this podcast, we'll provide you with intel to some of the many initiatives that fall under the MultiChoice umbrella, unpacking some of the greatest content that this continent has seen and expanding on what we mean when we say we're enriching lives. Consider us your insider. My name is Sipho Ngwenya, and welcome to MultiTalks. Today, I'm joined by a woman who has dedicated herself to mentoring upcoming broadcasters, continuously opening herself to sharing knowledge and fostering new talent in the industry. Please welcome Nono Cele-Xaba. Sis Nono, welcome.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Welcome to MultiTalks. You know, you're the first person to be sitting there on this journey of ours.
As it should be.
All right, now, so before we get into the business of the day, all right, just for those viewers out there who may not know who you are, brief background about who you are, etc., and then we'll get into it.
So I am a broadcaster. I am passionate about sport and storytelling, particularly within the sporting space, because I feel like as Africans, we have not told our stories well. So in essence, I would say I am a passionate broadcaster.
We'll get more into that a bit later, but right now it's all about the DSTV Disky Challenge. 10 years, a whole decade.
I can't believe it. Look, when we started this project 10 years ago in 2014, I remember how my then manager said, listen, there's this exciting project and it has your name all over it. You need to be leading people behind the scenes, training them, upskilling them. And I didn't think I had what it takes to do that. I mean, prior that, I had never led any team, and I was given this responsibility of leading a group of plus minus 40 young people.
Hectic.
Who work behind the scenes to ensure that we put together a production. And I was overseeing commentators, presenters, camera people, EVS people, vision controllers. These are all the people who work behind the scenes to put together a product. These are people who are not seen, but they actually exist. And for me, it was a way of a business thing to me. We believe in you, and I never looked back. That defining moment for me just elevated me as a broadcaster, but also allowed me the opportunity to open doors for other people. And I will forever remember the year, 2014. I can't believe it's 10 years. How did that happen so quickly?
No, time flies.
Yeah.
Take us a step back, right? Just in terms of the vision of the DSTV Disky Challenge. What was that at the time when it started?
So basically, this initiative was about development, not only of players and coaches, but also for people behind the scenes, Not a lot of people have had the opportunity, for example, to go to varsity to learn how broadcasting actually works. So this initiative was basically an opportunity for us to empower the community as well, to give the young players an opportunity to play, to give the coaches a platform where they can prove themselves and show what they can do, but also young people. Come in, see how we put together these productions. How does football get to be on air? What does it take to put a production on air? That was the vision. That was the initiative. And this idea just grew into something so massive. I mean, I look at the players now who are playing for the national team, Bafana, who come from this project. A project of 10 years has had immense impact on so many lives, even economically. There are people whose lives has been transformed by this project. I mean, there are people that we started with 10 years ago who are now working internationally. Camera people, EVS people. I look at myself, my own growth. I mean, 10 years ago, I was an assistant producer and I'm sitting here as a senior producer in the business, having worked on amazing projects, World Cups. I've directed 2 finals this year alone. So I think for me, this project has opened so many doors, not only for myself, but so many people. This has changed lives. I get excited when I talk.
Yes, I can see how passionate you are about this initiative. And it really it gives me hope. I mean, in terms of the intent of what this initiative is really about and how it's transformed people's lives. We've heard how it's impacted your life, right? Just from I think from a broader socio-economic point of view, right? Why grassroots football, right? Because we've got so many different sporting codes that also need the same kind of assistance, right? Why grassroots football?
But if we're talking legacy, there's no way we can't mention grassroots football, right? Because that's where the story is. Okay, it's amazing that we have these incredible players who have gone ahead of us. We've got Helman Mkelele, Mark Fish, we've got Benny McCarthy. Incredible, right? But who's next? What next? If we are not intentional in grooming and building the next generation, then we have failed. And for me, that's how I rate myself on a day-to-day basis. What impact have I made to the next generation? Because we have a massive responsibility of passing the baton to those who will come after us. If we are not doing that, then we are failing not only ourselves, but those who will come after us. So if we are talking impact, if we are talking legacy, if we are talking generational blessings, then we are talking about what am I doing to invest to those who are coming after me. So for me, that's where the story starts. Even with our 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds, that's where the attention needs to go.
Look, I'm going to be a bit controversial here, right? So I think if someone is looking at it from the outside in, right, and saying, okay, I can see what the role of the DSTV Diski Challenge has in terms of our society, right? And someone can look at it and say, you guys, there is another responsibility of those ahead of you, right, in terms of ensuring that the skills that you have groomed are now being fully utilized, right? Would you say at the state of our national football team, or rather just the how our football is in the country, that actually is translating in that manner?
Not fully, but there is work being done. And for the fact that we can assess, sit back and say, okay, cool, in what areas do we need to improve? In what areas could we do better? For me, the fact that we are having conversations like that, it points to progress. It points to the fact that we are interested in bettering what we have seen being done before. And also it talks to bold leadership, which is one of the things that's very important. We want to see young people owning this leadership thing, and not waiting for certain positions to then, make decisions, but own the leadership that you have, in the spaces where you are in. Own it. In what ways am I making a difference? You know what I mean? So for me, the fact that we are starting to have those difficult relationships is pointing to the fact that we are taking small steps, but it's steps anyway. You know what I mean? So for me, I celebrate the small wins, because I also know it's certain things are not easy to change, especially the mindset of certain individuals. It's difficult. It takes effort. It takes work. It takes years. But we must also acknowledge the small wins where they are,
So now I'm going to roll the clock back a bit, right? And go back to the girl who grew up in KZN, who, grew up in a family where you had these male leaders in, your dad who was a football lover, etc. Talk to us about that journey from you leaving KZN to coming to Gauteng for your first gig. And did you ever dream of it turning out to be the way it is now?
Very interesting. You know what? For me, I've always known that I'm called to do something greater than myself, simply because my father is he's full of personality, okay? And he's also very affirming as a person. So he always said to me, you know what? You are born for greatness. He instilled this confidence in me that whatever I apply myself or my mind to, I could do it, I could achieve it. So when I left home at the age of 20 to come to Johannesburg for the first time, I actually came here because I had an interview. And then after the interview, I was supposed to get on a bus back to KZN, right? But it didn't work out like that, because after the interview, my manager at the time, the one who was interviewing me, said, you got the job. So we start next week. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, I don't have any clothes here. What happens now, Yeah. And then my parents called a friend of a friend, and then I stayed with her. It was, But I always knew that I was going to do something great. Maybe it's because I believed my dad, because obviously my dad and I have a very close relationship. But yeah, for me, it was always those affirming words that you are born for so much more than just yourself, than your own dreams, you know. And that is what has kept me going, even where I am now, because it's not just about me. You know, the things that I do are not just about me. I'm always looking for ways of contributing for the greater good, for other people's benefit, you know, because my existence must speak volumes.
Okay. And now talk to us now. So you got this great role, and, you know, and life turned out to be the way it is for you right now, right?
Yeah.
So now talk to us about some of those experiences that shaped your life during this ski challenge.
I think one of the experiences that really shaped my career was before the Disky Challenge, because I was an intern and I used to run around with the mic on the side of the pitch, just picking up the audio, you know, when the players are shouting at each other or the coach is giving instructions. That used to be me, just that little girl with the mic, you know. And when I was on that pitch, that was such a defining time for me, because you are on the pitch where spectators are not allowed, right? Everybody's sitting up in the stands, but you get to be on the pitch. You are the closest person to the players at the time, and you are running around with this mic. And I thought to myself, there's something about that moment that got imprinted in my heart to say, you get access where other people won't have access. I didn't see it as you've got the bottom of the, you know, like you're just running around with the mic, it doesn't matter. I saw it as you get access to the people that people only dream of having conversations with, you know. So that was such a defining moment for me, first of all. So that was before the DDC. And then after the DDC, when I got told that you're going to be the project leader, it awakened the leader in me, you know, and it made me realize that, no, seize the moment, you know, put to work every gifting that you have. Stop apologizing for being in certain spaces, you know, and it's okay to be scared, you know, because I don't believe in us putting up a front, you know. It's okay to be scared, but lean in to that fear, you know. You never know who you could become, you know. And through that process, I grew so much and got so comfortable in being me and discovering who Nono is.
And is it everything that you ever dreamt of?
And more, yeah. And more. It is incredible. I mean, I look at the places where I've traveled, the people that I've met. And for me, the thing that always puts a smile on my face, being able to make an impact in young people's lives. You know, when people say, you know, I never thought I could be doing this, you know, this is my dream come true. Like I mentioned earlier, some of our camera people that I started with in 2014 are actually abroad right now, working on all sorts of amazing projects, meeting massive stars. I mean, how can that not move you? How can that not touch you? The fact that your existence was so important in someone living their dream. What? That goes beyond sport. That's a human story. I mean, I guess I get goosebumps just thinking about it. Yeah. That is incredible. And that is what my passion is all about. That is the kind of impact that we must be bold enough to make in life.
I just want to address the elephant in the room. All right. And I can't believe that we're in 2024 and we're still talking about this, you know, women's, you know, growth in the industry. And I'm just going to go back to my own personal experience. I mean, I began television in 1995, right, without counting the years. But, you know, at the time, there was a female director and a female producer, right? So I can't believe that in 2024, we're still talking about that challenge of women inclusivity in these spaces, right? So for you in such a male-dominated, you know, industry, what has that experience been like? And have you seen a shift has anything changed, in fact?
Yeah, a lot has changed. I'm happy to report. But the experience in itself has been difficult. I don't want to lie. It's not comfortable to walk into spaces, to walk into rooms where you are so aware that, oh, I'm a female. I don't like that feeling. You know, I want to walk in any space and feel like I'm a human being. You know what I mean? And also there are cliques within the industry in itself. You know, you constantly have to prove yourself. You know, it's been very difficult. I don't want to lie. And you almost put yourself. It's a catch-22 really, because if you put yourself out there where you are vocal, you express yourself, you are seen as, oh, she's being so controlling. Whereas with men, it's like, oh, he's so assertive. You know, he knows what he wants. You know, at the same time, if you withdraw, then people will walk all over you. I think what has given me the edge, what has allowed me to keep going, was just the knowledge of who I am. And if there's one thing about me, I am clear on who I am. I'm very clear on who I am. So I've held on firmly to that. You know, when people said, oh my gosh, she's so bossy, she's so demanding, instead of accepting other people's definitions of me, I said, well, I'm sorry that that's your experience or that's how you choose to view me. But I'm a person who knows exactly what they want. And I refuse to apologize for that. And I feel that women have to be that daring in order for them to last in this industry. Because if you are not confident in who you are, you will play a small role that you are not comfortable in, and that's not authentic in who you are. And in that way, you'll make no impact, because this requires courage.
And I'm just talking about that, right? Just in terms of male being perceived as people are assertive and females just being bossy, right? What have you then done trying to then change that because you understand it very well, right? That dynamic. What have you done in terms of trying to then mentor the women around you in this field to ensure that they don't fall through the cracks?
A lot of conversations, honestly. I think for me, that's at the core of my passion. A lot of conversations have happened because I'm very intentional in having those difficult conversations, particularly with the women that we work with, especially the younger ones that I mentor. Lots of conversations, because we need to talk about how we show up. And also not to say that we are perfect, because sometimes maybe we are showing up in a way that is aggressive, but we need to deal with those things. You know, we need to talk about it, you know. And we also need to have enough depth to understand what we bring to the table and what we know and what we don't know. And I think those conversations are difficult to have, you know, because look, females haven't gone this far before. So no one knows what this needs to look like, you know. But I think what's important is that we keep showing up for ourselves, that we keep making the progress, that we keep making our voices heard. But I think the most important thing that we are doing right now is having conversations, honest conversations, to say, where can I improve? How is my communication? You know, am I building or am I just shouting? You know, what am I doing? We need to have uncomfortable conversations.
I'm going to go off script a bit, right? So there's this report that I read by some author from UJ, and in the report they talk to this whole imbalance of women, male leadership in sport. And they also then touch on a subject which is quite interesting, the whole thing of the camera objectifying women in sport, right? So now if you're a female director and, I mean, you see, I'm going to make an example of a sport like rugby where men are very aggressive, and then you switch it to then female rugby. How do you go about, I mean, are you conscious of that when that happens? And how do you go about managing the control room to ensure that such does not happen?
We need to be very intentional. In every match, we need to know what the story is. Because if you know the story, then you know what to deliver on. You know, what is the story here? What feeling? Because also the story is also about emotions and feelings. What messaging are you giving your viewer? Because if you don't have a story, that's where everything starts falling apart. You know what I mean? Because we're now focusing on the things that don't matter, you know? So what is your story? For me, I always start the production with that. What is the story? Why does it matter that we're here? Why does it matter that we put this thing on air? It can't be just because we do it every week. What is the story? What is our messaging? You know? So as a team, that's what we need to do on a weekly basis. Fine. Mamelodi Sundowns, for example, is playing Kaizer Chiefs. But what is the story? It's not that Sundowns is playing Chiefs. What is the story? You know, it could be Chiefs, a team that hasn't won a trophy in the last X amount of seasons. But you need to find the story. So whether it's female sport, men's, if you are going with the story, that's the most important thing. That's what the viewer wants to see. You know, why is this player on the pitch? What does this player bring? You know, the story is the most important thing. And that's what I said in the beginning. The power of storytelling is a game changer. And that's why I decided this industry needed a Nono.
I love it. So now let's talk about, the good stuff in your life, right? Through this initiative, the DSTV Disky Challenge, what have been some of your greatest achievements?
Ooh, I think for me, the highlight has to be 2024. This year, I not only directed DDC, when we marked exactly 10 years, I was directing that. And it was such a special moment for me because it reminded me where we started. So 2024, thank you very much for that. 10 years of absolute greatness. And also this year, I got to direct the MTN 8 final, the Nedbank final. That is amazing, especially for women in this country to say, we can do it. We can do amazing things. We can tell incredible stories. And yeah, I mean, I just started, man. I mean, I've worked on World Cups, Confederations Cups, AFCONs. All of them have been amazing, but there's been something that's been so exceptional about 2024, celebrating 10 years of DDC, 10 years of changing lives, 10 years of making a difference, 10 years of opening doors for other people. I mean, that not everyone can say that, So what a privilege, what a time to be alive.
And I love that you've switched to that, right? Like the opportunity is part of it, right? So now for a young Nono watching this right now, I mean, what doors should they be knocking on, and what doors can the DSTV Disky Challenge open for young professionals?
Oh my goodness. I mean, I look at the presenters that have come through this project, Lindiwe, Lerato, many other young people. I would say to young people, start where you are, really, because that's exactly what we did with the DDC. Start where you are. Take a camera, record yourself, listen, play it back. Where can you improve? What could be better? Start where you are. And also align with your passions, man. There's something about being aligned with your natural gifting that just sets you apart from the other people, I think sometimes we want to do things because other people are doing them. That's not the way to go. Align with the things that cause you to come alive, because in that way, you never need to fake, because you show up 100% as yourself. It's your true self. And that sets you apart from any other.
Now, for someone who's watching, we'll always look at a polished Ronaldo or polished Lindiwe, as you say, or polished Carol. But in terms of just like the training, life skills, leadership skills, etc., what is that culture like within Supersport?
Oof. We believe so much in that. We believe in teamwork, intense conversations and feedback sessions. We're very intentional about that, because also you can imagine a young Lindiwe, for example, 2014, you put her on screen, you can imagine the amount of attention she gets, followers on social media platforms. And if you don't harness that, if you don't coach, if you don't give her the necessary support, a lot of chaos could happen around her. So we're very intentional about that, in not only giving people platform, but supporting them in order for them to grow and to sustain that success. So I think one thing that we do very well at Supersport is that we are solid as a team. We take each other on a journey. We hold each other accountable. I think that's what sets us apart, which is why our presenters, year in, year out, they continue to shine, they continue to excel. That consistency comes from the work that is done behind the scenes, and it's intentional.
And now let's just go into like some of the challenges, right? Because I mean, you're a wife, you're a sister. I mean, you're also a professional, right? So how do you balance that?
I think for me, I've been fortunate, I've been blessed, because I found a partner who gets me. And I think that plays a big role. I wish I could say it's all my brilliance. It's really not. I've found a support system and a support structure that really wants me to win. Because when people want you to win, they create a space for you to be yourself. And I think that's the greatest blessing of them all. My husband allows me to be as bold as I want, as creative as I want to be. And he allows me to dream big. And I've been incredibly blessed, because even with our kids, the family steps in. Okay, cool. If you need to travel, how can we show up for you, So I'm grateful for that. And when I am present, obviously it's a party. But when I'm not present, it's not like, oh, you're not here. I'm still part of the family through video calls. Look, it might not be easy, but I never feel like, oh my gosh, I'm missing out, because they also understand the importance of what I'm doing.
All right. And now just going back to the Diski challenge itself, right? Well, we understand a decade has gone by since the initiative kicked off. But from that part, what are some of the highlights of the tournament itself that you have?
Highlights of DDC, there's so many. I look at the players like Grant Kekana, who's now playing at Mamelodi Sundowns. Incredible. He was Ducks captain at the time in 2014 when we started. I look at players like Pesitao playing abroad. I look at Mofokeng excelling at Orlando Pirates, Nkoda scoring incredible goals. I look at the coaches, Thabo September. I mean, he used to be one of our analysts, and now he's a first-team coach. I look at the people that we've worked with behind the scenes. They started as interns, and look at them now. I mean, working internationally. Those are all the wins. Those are all the wins, because when you empower someone with a skill that changes their lives, that allows them to put food on the table, and I don't know. I don't know if there's anything that's greater than that. So there are so many wins, man. There's so many stories. I mean, we've become close with the players, close with the coaches, with the team behind the scenes. So, endless wins.
It's interesting. Like when I look at the format itself, right, and how it's changed, right. Then I do a comparison between the PSL and look at the top 4 teams, and then when I look at the Diski Challenge and look at the top 4 teams, it's not the same thing.
100%.
Right? In the sense that, at that level, everyone is equal in that sense, right? Because now when you get to club professional football, then there's some imbalance that happens there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So is this something that was intentional about the tournament itself in grooming this talent?
I don't think so. I don't think it was intentional, but I just love how the players themselves then show up, because basically this gives you an opportunity to showcase what you have. It's up to you. It's up to you. We're just creating a platform for you. You say you have a talent. You say you're passionate about this thing. You say you want to excel here. Okay, prove it. It just gives you that opportunity. And then what's key about it is all the stakeholders who show up at these games, who watch these games and sign these players and give them an even bigger platform, to excel. I think it's incredible that even the impact that the young players have made within the Premier League in itself. I mean, you look at the likes of Ngota, what he's doing right now for Orlando Pirates. I mean, and he's not the only player. There are many other players, young players who are doing, Jaden Adams at Stellenbosch. Oh, you look at Titus. Oh, amazing talent. Yeah. But it's up to you. We can only just give you the platform. What you do with it, entirely up to you.
All right, now let's just look to the future, right? So, we understand the vision of the Diski Challenge. Just looking to the future, what more work do you wish can be done and achieved?
There's so much work that still needs to be done. Honestly, we need to unearth more talent. South Africa has incredible talent. We've proven that time and time again. Look at what Bafana Bafana is doing right now. Hey, have you seen Bafana Bafana this motivated, this inspired? People are showing up at the stadium because we believe again. This is the impact of the DDC. This is the direct result of the work that was done from 2014. So there's still a lot of work to do, whether on the pitch, whether behind the scenes, whether technical teams. There's still a lot of work to do. This is just showing us what this effort has yielded in terms of fruit. But it's also saying you can do more. You can go further. You can tell even more stories. This is just the beginning.
Okay, so now I'm gonna give you a pen and paper, blank page, and a pen, and say to you, if you could implement any new initiative, whether it's for the DDC or whether it's for SuperSport, what would that be as part of your legacy?
Oh, easy. I want to see the 4-year-olds, the 5-year-olds also having the same kind of platform. That's what we need to do. That's the next step now, Let's see the little boys running around. Yay! Create a little tournament for them, because we can't afford to leave them out. And they're so intentional about it abroad, That's what we need to start doing, because you can't say, oh, my boy is 15. Only then he's starting. He's already lost out on like maybe 10 years of consistent discipline, because it's not even the major things, but it's the small things. Showing up on time, arriving there with your socks, with your kit, that teaches you responsibility. It's too late to learn that at 15. We need to start it as early as 5. You need to know that, Dad, after school today, I'm going to, that's what we need.
Can I now get one last thing out of you? I know many sports broadcasters don't like being asked this, but what is your favorite football team?
You can never ask for that. Okay, but it's simple. Bafana, of course.
Oh, come on. You see the cliche. I knew you would say that. But anyways, no, this has been great, right? But before we close it, to that young girl watching this right now, what would you like to say to them?
To every young girl, I would like to say, this is your moment. It's that simple, because sometimes we overcomplicate it with advice, things that, no, it's your moment. Just walk in with that. In every space, in every boardroom, in every diary entry, this is my moment. Simple.
Well, there you have it, guys. This is your moment, as said by Nono Cele-Xaba herself. I look forward to great conversations like these in future episodes. If you want to catch those, please make sure to subscribe to our MultiChoice YouTube page. My name is Sipho Ngwenya. Check you next time.